secretaries or representative from different government departments that we have invited to come for this session of the committee meeting and inquiry. This committee was set up last year as a special parliamentary committee. We had convened on the 14th to 15th of October 2025 for the first time, and it's, I would say, a historical sort of addition by Parliament, and also a historical session in the sense that for the first time in the history of our country and our people, our nation, we are bringing focus and attention to a very important sector of our country, and that is the children and youth of our country. These formative years of our citizen, like any other country, is very, very important. The rest of their life and rest of our life depend on how we are prepared at the early childhood and in our adolescent and youth. What we can see from the last 50 years is that there is not much very concerted effort in terms of policy and in terms of a program that is directed at this particular sector. Most of the time we have parked this sector with a department that we have neglected, and that is the Department for Community Development. All the social sectors are packed with the department: children, youth, women, church, people with disability, and it's a very big demanding sector, but the resources that goes to that department is very negligible. And equally down in the provinces, I think responsibility are gradually being decentralized, going down to the provinces, but it does not accompanied by funding or resources to enable the provincial governments or the local level government to reach out to this very important space. This is why the Parliament set up this committee, in the wisdom of the Parliament, set up this committee so that the committee can shed spotlight and get all of us, importantly, to put attention and effort into this space so we can change the dynamics, especially looking into the next 50 years. So today we will continue our inquiry, and I would like to take this time to thank all our committee members for being able to, in their very busy schedule, able to come. Governor, very busy with our province and central. One of our governors who is a member of our committee too is not able to come. That's Governor Sasindra Mutuval, Honorable Sasindra Mutuval. Himself plus our Deputy Chair, Honorable Francisca Semoso, not able to come because, as we all know, we had the recent cyclone hitting Solomon Islands, Bougainville, Milne Bay, and the impact of which affected New Britain, New Ireland, and other provinces in that area. So we can excuse them, but the work of the committee must continue. So today we have a Department for Education who are here to update us on the progress on the key issues that our committee has identified as a minimal sort of programs or services and initiative that must be undertaken in all sectors in order that we can really be providing the conducive environment for children to grow, to learn, to develop mentally, develop physically, develop spiritually, develop emotionally, and are able to start their journey on a very strong foundation, supporting the parents and all the other institutions of state. So we have asked the different departments to come and report on this. So without further ado, I would like to invite Secretary, I think, for Education, Dr. Comra, to take the podium and do a presentation, I think. let me see the program. Doctor, I think you do a sort of a opening remark, and then we will can exchange you with the questions, I think. Um, is it the education or upfront? Sorry, doctor. Sorry, it should be a secretary for health. Yeah? We are doing education first. Okay, I'm just trying to revert to the program, but thank you, doctor. My apologies. We have on the program have tasked the sort of schedule the secretary for health, but we will have you all you are first. I think the main focus is to access and quality and the system of education that we have put in place. And Doctor, I think in the first inquiry there are a lot of gaps, especially in the secondary. I think in the primary we are doing well, but when they go up to secondary, it flops again. And of course, tertiary is another issue, but it's not in your area of responsibility. We will have the Secretary for Higher Education coming later. But now also we have the new policy on early childhood, so you might want to give your presentation in those two areas along that theme. Thank you, Secretary Comra. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Pakop, Chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Children and Youth, the committee members, our development partners, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Department of Education, I'd like to once again thank the committee for inviting us to come and make a presentation. We were here in October, and in our October presentation, we did provide a lot of information. And this, we believe, will be an update of certain areas that we have been tasked to work on and give further information on the progress we've made since October. So, Chairman, my presentation, I believe, will be very short, but if there are areas that you want me to elaborate on, I try my best to do that. We did provide a full written submission of brief to the committee and to the secretariat, so I would think you would have a copy or a summary of that report we did. Our school education system, we have two main subsectors in our education system, one of the higher education and the lower education system. The lower education system, we look at early childhood education, then to primary schools, secondary schools. Those are the three key sectors we have, subsectors within the general education system. We all, the policy framework we have is the Vision 2050, the MTDB4, and we have a national education plan that runs from 2020 to 2029. And most recently, we have government has approved a 50-year vision that is yet to be launched, but the cabinet has already approved, and we'll be launching that very shortly. So those are the vision and framework we have that we work under to implement certain policies. But overall, we want to give the quality education to every child in Papua New Guinea. That's a critical underlying goal, to provide quality education for every child that is born in our country. The first sector of our lower education system is the early childhood education. This is a new sector that we have got cabinet to requested cabinet to endorse, and have endorsed that in 2020. And again, in 2025, we took another policy that they have approved, and I'm going to elaborate on that policy that cabinet has approved. The introduction of the early childhood education is a completely new sector. We have non-government organizations, private organizations that have been implementing or offering early childhood education. But we have decided that there should be some consistency of standards right at that level. So what we took to cabinet was for an endorsement of a national policy on early childhood education that was approved, and there was one sticking point. The sticking point was who will pay the teachers, and that was one of the critical points that we wanted to be very careful in introducing the early childhood education. So At my last presentation in October, I said that we have submitted a cabinet submission for who will be responsible for a teacher's salary. So I'd like to inform the committee that cabinet has made a decision to approve that all ECE teachers will be paid and they will be members of the teaching service. So that decision came in only March. We submitted in July last year, and we got the actual decision last month, this year.
Very good.
So a decision has been made, and that's a very, it's a big decision that we believe will take the early childhood sector up forward. That has actually restrained us from registering more schools, because first 12 schools that we started last year, they've actually completed the first grade, or what we call kindergarten 1, and we were very hesitant to start any more new schools because we were not sure of who's going to pay the teachers. There were suggestions that the community should take care of, but in our submission we made it clear that the state must take that responsibility and pay, and all the other costs related to early childhood education should be responsibility of the community. So that has been approved, and we're going to go forward. So we're going to meet with all the provinces. It will be a provincial function, and provinces will be responsible for ECE, so the budget and every other aspect of it will come under provinces. So far we have registered 12 schools of ECE schools, and we could not go any further because of the issue on teacher salary. So now that decision had come last month, we're going to formally register them, give them positions in the school system, and so on. On the curriculum, we have completed the development of the curriculum. We have got 4 subjects in ECE. The 5th subject we have, we call it God, the Bible, and the Child. It's a Papua New Guinea one that we have created ourselves to make sure that the children who go into ECE must grow in the word of God and be molded and in the ethics and values that we believe are very strong for Papua New Guinea. So we have introduced that subject, and that will be part of the compulsory subject that will be covered in ECE schools. So that curriculum is now, it's ready for implementation. Teacher training, the minimum qualification we have set for ECE teachers is a diploma in early childhood education. We had some of our teachers colleges and Goroka University actually offering the ECE diploma in ECE already, and we have about 800 plus graduates already in the country, but many of them are teaching in private schools or in elementary schools and so on, but the qualification they gained is diploma in ECE. So what we're doing now is, with the new curriculum, we are now giving them a refresher course to upskill them and to upgrade the knowledge so they can implement the curriculum properly. So far we have trained 118 of them and on the refresher. So now those will be the ones that we will be actually registered to become teachers in ECE. Chairman, the schools that are already offering ECE, they will continue to offer that. We are not going to stop them. It's only when they have met the minimum standards that we have set, and when they want to register with the government system, that's the only time that we will register them. But if an organization, a church, a private institution want to continue to offer the ECE at their own local level community, that of course will be allowed to happen. We don't want to close the schools. But one thing that the NEC also approved for us to implement the ECE rollout is that every ECE school that we will start must be aligned and registered under a church. So that will be one condition. So every ECE school will now register under a church. With primary schools, high schools, we have government schools and church schools. But for ECE, all of them, by policy, will become, or if they are not church agency school, they must be aligned to a church. For the very reason that when we start a child at age 4 and 5, they're very young. We want to have them to be grounded in godly principles and values. therefore we say that they must be in a church first and foremost, in a Christian environment. So that's why the policy has been made to include a church as a key partner in the implementation of ECE.
So Secretary, just going on from there for clarity. All the primary school have to, if they are going to set up a ECE, they are going to align with some church, or how does it work?
Primary schools.
Maybe you can put it in a different way. All the elementary schools that are attached to the primary school, will they now become ECE? And if so, then are these primary school going to be affiliated with a particular church, or how does it work out?
Chairman, in our school system, the structure is like this: 2, which is the ECE, and then 6, which is prep, grade 1 up to 6. All right, that's the 1 is prep, and then the 6 is 1 to 6. And then we got the next 6, which is the secondary, 7 to 12. So that's 160. So in other words, if you really look at it by numbers, you can call it like a 2-1-6-6. So the 2 is the ECE.
Yeah.
It is age 4 and 5. It's a completely new system. It's not an elementary school. The elementary school is now amalgamated with the primary. So primary is actually starting with prep and then grades 1 up to 6. So it's not.
So what will be the age group, or age level at prep?
Prep level will still remain the same, which is prep is age 6.
Age 6.
Yeah.
So that means 5 and 4 will be
4 and 5 will be
ECE.
ECE.
What about 2 and 3?
0 to 3 will be part of the responsibility of community development. We cannot go into looking after children with babies and nappies and all this, because that's beyond our function of education.
When they are past that, they are able to walk, and maybe 2 or 3, they could be in some, early childhood school. Yeah.
I think in overseas countries we do have these childcare facilities.
Yes.
So as soon as the child can be able to be a little bit more independent, the parents go to work and they get them under early childhood, not early childhood, childcare. So the childcare are specialists to look after this, change nappies, feed them, and so on. No matter when they finish work or father finish work, they come and pick them up.
So ECE will start at age 5.
Age 4.
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
6 they go to
Prep.
So this 166, that's the, what does 166 apply to? It's a prep, and then 6 years of primary,
and 6 years
and then
of secondary.
6 years of secondary, or but what about these 2 early childhood? It's not counted. Like it could be 366. That's what we are trying. I'm asking you because, Secretary, if I could just speak in my capacity as governor of our capital city, we want to maintain that 366. You see, in the city, maybe in the province, our members in the district might have a different sort of approach, but in the city, parents are already going to work, going to the market, going to to fend for their families every day, and the children are most neglected or are vulnerable. So the earlier we start them in the process, like going to early childhood, the better it is. Otherwise, most of the some of the children will be running around here and there. Parents not providing mentorship or parent guidance and care. So it becomes a problem in the city, and then it becomes a problem in the country. So our approach to in the city too, I just putting my cap on as governor again, is that we want to see partner you all to work with the primary school, but we want all the churches in the city to open up a ECC, ECE, early childhood. Yes.
Governor, Chairman, we did ponder on this one, but we also were looking at the implementation across the whole country.
Yeah.
We could see that if we put PrEP into the ECE, many communities will not have a ECE, especially in the rural areas. So we say that no, PrEP must continue to remain with the primary. So that is the stepping stone towards school. So that will remain so that the child comes in from the village community, comes into PrEP and gets ready to go to school. Whereas in the urban areas, especially where there is, for us to start the ECE, they start with ECE and then when they go into PrEP, they are more advanced. So because of that, we felt that it should be, PrEP should continue to remain with the primary.
Okay. So far only 12 ECE has started.
12 started. This year we will go out to provinces again. We got a minimum standards of school, the operating standards we call it, to make sure that the schools that we start must be almost 100% ready before we give them registration. But the registration process was impeded by the teacher salary issue. So now that we have a clearance now, we will be working towards teachers coming on board from next year onwards.
So there is a minimum standard in terms of the facility and
yes.
the area size and the type of classrooms or
all has been covered under our policy.
Yes. And have you all shared this with the provinces?
Provinces have been briefed. We will continue to brief them as we go through. But they've been very been informed through our senior staff meetings or conferences on this very important policy.
So, but and Secretary, in terms of how it will be rolled out, you see the ECE being constructed as a separate sort of a facility or part of the primary school, or how do you see it, like physically? Like when you all started the elementary schools, bottom down and top up, 7 and 8. I used to be the chairman of the Waigani Primary School, and we were just told to bottom down and top up. We didn't have the facility. I had to go to Brandbelt somewhere and buy all this canvas to start the school, to start that implement that strategy. Bottom down, elementary 1, 2, 3, and top up 7 and 8. So, but the policy was that the elementary and top up be packed together with the primary school. So is this the same approach that early childhood will be part of primary schools, or will be separate, like we build it separately, or now you are suggesting that it will be part of the church, or we build it with the church? Or?
The ECE centers will not be part of the primary school. Okay. They are community based. Where the community is, where the children are, that's where the school will be established. And it's only the teacher salary that will be paid by the government and registered. Whereas all the other infrastructure and the cost of operations will all be met by the community. Yeah. So we feel that it must be a community responsibility than the government taking over everything from birth to grave. So,
but Secretary, the schools now, the primary schools, they have already have, capacity. Like I can give you an example down at what's our school down there
Botuka?
At the village, Agara Primary School. We have built the facility for the elementary school, which is in the same boundary but a bit physically separate, isolated. So what are we going to do with that facility? That's my question. Why can't we just convert it and call it like ECE?
Chairman, I think it's any configuration can work.
Okay.
So we should not say that they must be off the campus.
Okay.
No. Like Agara and Anobara and so on, the community is very close. So if you have it at Agara, I think it will work out very well. But you take a school in say Manus, you know, we cannot take age 4 and 5 right from the most remote island and come to school. So that's why the community has to look after ECE first, and then to the elementary and primary and come up.
Okay, so Secretary, maybe it'll be flexible, huh?
We should say
which
flexible.
might include the primary school, the facility or the infrastructure is already there. So the community might say, we'll continue our ECE in where the elementary used to be.
If that's
no problem, huh?
No problem.
Okay.
We can.
Chairman, sorry, just supporting secretaries and depending on the infrastructure. Like right now, even because of the population, like we have one early childhood in Mirgini, one inside the village, one in Katana, and Northwest is paying for the teachers at this moment because the schools are small.
Very good. So I'd like to just move on to another policy decision that the cabinet has made, and that is to provide meals for every child in ECE. That the community must be responsible for having a standard meal for every child that comes into ECE. So that's also covered. So when we implement the ECE policy, strictly from now onwards, we will be taking that into account for a standard meal to be provided by the community. They make a contribution, and then the children are fed with a balanced meal for proper food.
Yes, that must be a requirement for the whichever community wants to raise the ECE. They must meet this. They must be able to provide that nutritious meal or balanced meal. Prescribed, yeah. So all must work on local community must work on commitment or something. If we get a ECE raised, we will build a teacher's house. We will build a classroom, and we will provide the meals for the kids. Or it's like an also commitment on us working to raise the school.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll go into some kind of an what you are suggesting. Remember, we'll have to look into that to have an agreement with the community.
Yes.
Okay.
Secretary, that needs a lot of care and attention because you know the community could just become lazy and give them all magic noodles, kind of magic cubes. You know, you go down, Secretary, you drive through this street down there going the Goodwheat and you see what strip. Children are being fed so many junk by vendors and beside the school fence. And our NCD, I'm just giving an example, our NCD education is not clamping down and chasing these vendors away. So if we, it's a good idea that, you know, the ECE have meals because it's good for their, you know, nutrition and health and so on. But the risk is that the community might resort to like, you know, ice block or scone or something like that. How are we going to ensure that they are not fed this junk, unhealthy, unhygienic food?
So this, what we see from what I can see, we have these ECE schools as community owned and operated. So the community themselves are responsible for how they will look after their own school. So if they care about the children, then they have to say that no, every parent, you have a child there, you must contribute this much, and then this group can come and do the cooking, that women group can come do the cooking the next day, this meal, and serve them.
Secretary, I think it's better that we have under the supervision or inspection that we build into it, because what you're saying is good, but here in the city, I'm just giving an example, we have that regulation in place to protect the children in the primary school, but all mama ko salim junk here there, and nobody is stopping them. There's a school board, there's a principal or head teacher in the school, but they are not taking action to stop the sale of all this junk food, cordial, what else? Noodles. So it's a bit risky, but at least we are raising it now, so we can put the mechanism.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Secretary, through the chair.
Yeah.
I think because of the age group of our children who will be going to ECE, I think it's better to have something that's more structured. So referring back to the minimum standards, I think we should get groups from within the community who should bid to run that program, rather than just expecting the villagers to bring the things. There should be, whoever is interested in running that, they should bid, and then there should be minimum standards on what do you want in terms of nutrition value and other things that for the school, and they should go by that. So when you come down, your inspectors come down, they're ticking off on those things, rather than leaving it to the community to do that. That is the starting of their education, and it can't be left to, ad hoc basis. It has to be started structured, going through.
Thank you. Thank you. Chairman, can I go to the secondary,
Yes, sorry.
primary, secondary, or time
Before
up?
you go to secondary, no, I just want to raise these questions. Firstly, in terms of the teachers you mentioned, what is the expected ceiling nationally of that you all have planned for the ECE teachers? Would it, you all have a particular ceiling like 100,000 or 70,000 or? And
Right now we have, as of December pay number 26, we had 72,000. This on the payroll.
No, I mean ECE.
ECE.
Yeah, ECE. Have
ECE,
you a projection of how many teachers we are going to have for ECE?
yeah, ECE will be a very huge sector.
You all have a projection or not?
We do have projections. Right now I don't have the figures here, but it's going to be very big. It will go into 40,000, 50,000, but I don't have the figure right now to give you. But the projections will, depending on the population growth.
Yes.
If the population is growing slowly, then we'll reduce the number. If the population is big, we'll have to increase it.
Population is growing fast.
So
3.1 before, it went up to 4.1. Maybe it's going between the two. So it's one of the highest population growth rate in the world. So you all have to project on this. Similarly, is there projection on the number of ECE centers or schools to be, you all have estimate will be set up in the rest of the country? Or
yes, we do. We have,
everybody might go out and say, okay, we are going to set up ECE. It's already happening in the city. Now that it's a formal policy, we have a team in NCDC already going out and working with the already existing like private ones and trying to work with them, and then we are going to work with the churches. Now more people are showing interest in that. How are we going to contain it, or what are the mechanisms that you all have come up with so that is there a minimum like a number of population equal one ECE, or how is the equation?
Okay. We have already taken to cabinet and endorsed what we call a minimum service standards. The minimum service standards determines the number of schools that should be in every ward, LLG, district, and province. And then we have also allocated or given the responsibility of who is the primary responsibility of each of these levels of schools. So for example, the minimum ECE school that should be in the ward is one. But then it depends on the population. So if the population is big, they can have more than one, but we have set minimum. Also primary school. Primary school, there should be one primary school in each LLG. But if there is more people, then obviously there will be more primary schools, and the LLGs will be responsible for that. The EC centers will be responsible for coming under the ward.
Maybe, Secretary, you all can work it out on a ratio of number of teachers to children. If you work it out that way, and then we apply it that way, then we will know, we can work it out in each community, a number of children, there's a number of teachers will come in, and that's it. We cannot go beyond that. Any other children who missed out has to go to another EC school.
We do have minimum class sizes as well, and teacher ratio as well. So those will be applied in determining the size of a school.
All right, Secretary. Just on still on ECE before you go to secondary. You know, water and sanitation is very important for the ECE. Children must be, access water, good sanitation, be taught to also, in terms of basic hygiene, wash themselves, brush their teeth, and so on. So, are you all working in alignment with the national planning, or who still, being responsible for this wash program?
WAS is there's a national policy, and national planning department is responsible.
Yes.
But we got our own branch within the department, which we call it the WASH branch, that is actually worked with the national policy to make sure that the minimum WASH requirements are met at different levels of school. So we have that. And of course, in our minimum standards for ECE, the minimum standards will also apply. That they must have like how many boys or girls to one washroom or toilet. All these are all set in the standards.
Right, Secretary. Members of the committee, any question on ECE, or Secretary will move on to secondary?
Yeah, Chair, I just wanted to reiterate on the need for the minimum standards. I think in terms of infrastructure is also critical, like the remarks by Chairman about using elementary classroom buildings, whether it's appropriate for 4 or 5 year olds is a question. I'd put question mark there. So we need to know as implementers, what is the infrastructure minimum standards requirements? What will that place look like? So that we can plan properly for that. And our education advisors, when they go out, they're looking at those things to tick off. And I've already talked about the meals and just how to manage that. Like, they're 4 or 5 year olds. It needs to be a controlled environment where supervision and their safety, all of that is well taken care of.
Yep. We'll take note of that. If I can go into after ECE, they go to primary. After primary, it's grade 6. They'll have to go to grade 7 in a high school or secondary school. Governor, the gender parity at primary school is reasonable, very close to like 1-to-1. Whereas the biggest challenge we have is at the secondary level in terms of gender parity. So there are more boys than girls in secondary schools. That's one factor. The other factor we have is a huge dropout we have between grade 8 and 9. So under the 166 policy of the restructure, we want to see every child who comes into prep or before that going to ECE and come must all complete grade 6, and all of them proceeding to grade 7 and all the way up to grade 12. So the grade 12 becomes the minimum qualification for any Papua New Guinea. So that's the policy we have now, and we're working towards that. Under the 166, we already have across the country about 40% of our schools have already converted to take on the 166 policy. So we're still slow, but we will hopefully get there sometime. The biggest challenge we have with implementation of 166 is infrastructure and teacher training. Teacher output is not sufficient to meet the demand of the grade 7 and high school infrastructure. So those are the biggest challenges. But the good news is that we took a submission to Cabinet last month, and Cabinet under the Prime Minister have approved 11.8 billion kina to mirror the PNG Connect program. But this will be in education. We are calling it Equip PNG. Equip standing for Education Quality Infrastructure Program. Meaning that 11.8 billion that will run for 10 years from next year will be invested into classrooms, into teachers' houses, into WASH, and curriculum and teacher training. So there are 4 or 5 components that we will then progress to ensure that children who come out of grade 8 will move into, grade 6 will go into grade 7 into high schools. So there will be a major program. If the government will fund under the policy that's been approved, then we will be able to meet the challenges we have in teacher training and infrastructure development. This year, we started with pacing out selections in 6 provinces: Ella, Enga, Western Highlands, Jiwaka, Eastern Highlands, and Western Province. Those provinces have got what we call retention rates. Like over 80% of children are going from grade 8 to 9. So we started with those 6 provinces this year. And the government has allocated or has promised to give us another 300 million kina to help these 6 provinces to implement the non-selection to grade 9 this year. So we are working with our sister departments to make sure that program can roll out this year. So that's the biggest challenge we had, but our government has come very good, and we hope that the real money comes so we can fully implement them.
Secretary, this is in parallel with the the exam thing. We delay the exams to, is it to grade 10 or to grade 12?
No, the exams still remain. At this point, the exams remain at grade 8, 10, and 12. We haven't removed any exam. Exams remain. It's the selections only.
What will be the purpose of the exams?
Exams is to measure the students' achievement of certain subject content.
But not for deciding whether they progress.
It should not be used for selection. It's just, we use it as a proxy just to cover up ourselves. No one should be a dropout in Papua New Guinea.
So grade 6 will still have exam? Grade 8?
At the moment, we have at grade 8, 10, and 12. But we are looking at also introducing at the earlier time at primary as well, maybe grade 3. So we have 3 or 4 exams through the system.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't have to wait until grade 8. We can with the reforms we can bring them 1 or 2 exams before that.
All right, Secretary. Before you go on, just in terms of physical things, 166. So in the primary school, it's still okay, but in the secondary school, we have some under the old whatever reform, top down and bottom down and top up. Some of the primary schools went up to 8. So they've built the infrastructure for 7 and 8. Like I think Bora has gone up to 7 and 8. So now if the primary school come back to 6, then we have 7 and 8. What happened to what will our infrastructure be used for now? We will transfer them to the secondary school, or I'm just highlighting it to show to you all that all these changes policies are good, but it creates a lot of problem for the management of the school and come down to the provinces who are responsible for education. They will have to build new infrastructure because now 7 and 8 are going to be part of the secondary school. So it's a problem. So this funding is to cater for this. The current secondary school will bottom down. Let's say Gordon's is now is 9, 10, 11, 12, 4. So now they have to add on 7 and 8. So we will build a classroom for 7 and 8 in Gordon Secondary School. Or how do you see this working out?
Chairman, NCD is a very special case. It's quite unique in the sense that we don't have a lot of land available for schools.
Yeah, but it's a cost factor too.
It's a cost factor too.
If you, like Wagani Primary School, I think we have 7 and 8, but now 7 and 8, we'll have to transfer to Gero Secondary School or something. So we will have to build new infrastructure there to bottom down, and then we have a problem with the 7 and 8. Maybe we'll just have more grade 6 classes. So it might not be a problem.
Yeah. If I may speak, I think in the past we had, like at Agara, I went to Agara. When I was there, it was grade 1 to 6.
Yes.
So that was always the case, and then we went on to high school. 8 to 10, and then we had national high in the past. So the infrastructure is, just my opinion, I think it's sort of there for 1 to 6, and high schools were 7 to 10. So I think we should be okay.
So, Governor, in NCD we are adopting a different strategy given that the context we are in. So we are building schools in the primary schools, high schools in primary schools. So like Erima, where there is a lot of space there, the grades 7 and 8 becomes part of junior high school. So the junior high school is developed on the same land, but it's a different school itself. That's what we're doing. So eventually, hopefully, we grade 9 and 10 at Gordon's, they can go into those junior high schools. So you get, Gordon's can become just a grade 11 and 12 school. So that configuration can be done. So we have applied a different strategy for NCD because of the context that NCD is in. Some provinces can be different. So the structure is quite flexible. So we can build an academy like Butuka, that's also possible. Or you can only have a primary school and then have a high school in a different location where the land is possible. So any configuration is possible. So we've taken into account of any situation.
All right, thank you, Secretary. Please go on.
Sorry, what about if we had to have 11th and 12th separately, feeding from several junior high schools, if you like? That's also a possibility?
You can only have what you call a senior high school, which is 11 and 12. And junior high school is 7 to 10. So we've already designated as a senior high school. Some provinces are now also asking for provincial schools of excellence.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Actually.
So provincial schools of excellence, we still have to determine what is the curriculum, what are the teacher standards we'll have, what infrastructure standards we have. So as we speak now, there's a provision for provincial schools of excellence, but we have not really detailed the characteristics of a provincial school of excellence yet. But many provinces are expressing interest. They want to build national schools of excellence, actually, but we say no. National schools of excellence are elite schools that only for the top students in Papua New Guinea. We don't want to compromise the top students and preparing the top Papua New Guineans for the future. So we're maintaining our policy that very, very strictly that we will not establish so many schools of excellence, because in Papua New Guinea, when one thing happens, everybody wants to do the same thing. So we are saying no, we have to be very careful. So we are putting a cap on the schools of excellence. We say let's build provincial schools of excellence or senior high schools. That's the way to do it. So every school becomes excellent school. But the national schools of excellence will get students from all across the country. And we have a unique curriculum for it with the teachers.
Chairman, through you. So I have a couple of primary schools in my LLG. Now we want to build a grade 9 and 10 for them to come. So what will that school be called? Junior high school or senior high school?
So can you repeat?
So we have several primary schools, like from the old system. Yeah, so they're up to grade 8. Primary school is up to grade 8. So we want to build 9 and 10. 9 and 10. So all the schools will send their 9 and 10 to one school.
All right, thank you. We have already clustered every school, every need that you have in every province already with LLGs. We've gone out and done what we call a clustering and mapping exercise. We've done that first phase. UNICEF assisted us, and I think this month and next month we're going to bring them all back again to align every school, every community to a school, an ECE school to a primary school to a high school. So your schools, I would think already that there is already a roadmap already. So it will be based on that clustering that we did that will be followed. So if they see that there's a high population growth rate in that will become you had 7 and 8 already, so you had 9 and 10 become a junior high school in that same location. But if you want to be a primary school, then you have to move the 7 and 8 into a high school that will take on 7 and 8. So my planning team has already clustered every province already last year. So we've got a cluster mapping and a clustering exercise we've done completed last year. If every education plan in every province gives you the information, you will know exactly where the schools will be and possible future schools will be.
I think that that particular report is very important. It should be presented to the DDs and.
All right, thank you. We will do this validation exercise again this month or next month. Once we do that, we'll make it available to you. We'll send it to you for your own district.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Secretary, please move on to secondary school. We
I think
might
I've
be
covered
pressed
that,
for
Chairman.
times. Yeah.
I've covered that secondary already, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay, Secretary. Before we excuse you, I just have some question I want to raise with you. You know, there is a high, problem with retention at the secondary school. Have you all identified the basis of the, problem with the retention? There is a problem with the, boy-girl, balance. So that's one problem in itself. But generally, the statistics shows that from primary school we have about maybe 80% going to school. But when we get to primary school, secondary school, it drops. It drops. A big drop. So if the department identified with the provincial governments the reasons for all these gaps, and do you all have a step, some action, or what sort of action you all taking to ensure there is retention? So whatever is in the primary school comes to the secondary school, and as you have mentioned, achieve this goal of minimum grade 12 education.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Chairman, so I think the biggest strategy and the way we have to go is to remove the selection system, the dropout system. If everyone can go from prep and go up to 12, the participation rates of boys and girls will remain generally the same all the way through.
Okay.
I think that's the biggest strategy and implementation we should take place in Papua New Guinea to ensure that gender parity remains equal all the way through from their school system.
But this is like based on a study. You all have done a survey to work out like the cause of the low or big drop in retention in the secondary school. Is it due to selection, or is there other factors? What about space, or what about fee? Fee is no longer a problem with TFF.
We have not conducted a specific study on this between grade 8 and 9, why many of students are dropping, or girls dropping out, and 10 and 11.
Yeah.
But from our experience and knowledge, we know that when there is limited space in grade 9, for example, boys have culturally or for some reason have continued to into grade 9, and the girls becomes the victim of the system. And therefore, I think if we continue to build gender, be very conscious of the space that girls should have, like wash facilities, girls' dormitories, or even girls' schools alone, like Marinville.
Yeah.
I think that will encourage more girls to go
Retention.
into schools. So a couple of strategies we can implement in provinces to encourage more girls to go up to grade 12. But I tell you, if you go around to any graduation, the performance of girls are very, very good.
Yeah.
When they have the right environment, the right teachers. So I think girls got just like any other person. They got the ability. So it's just the environment, the resources we support them, and I think everyone will be treated equally.
Secretary, I would, apart from selection, I would also, and other factors, I would also suggest that, the space is still a big problem nationwide. It's like in the city, for example, and just out of my head, I think we have about 40 plus something, maybe 45 or 42, used to be 42 when I started my term in early 2000s, 2007. We have about 42 primary school. But we don't have a lot of secondary school, at least state secondary school. We are lucky in the city, we have agency school, like the Catholic Church having Jubilee, or having Marinville, or Don Bosco, all these De La Salle, and out at Guerrero, Charles Lawanga. We have all these agency school helping us, so we can retain the intake into primary school going to secondary school. So I believe space is also a factor or problem. And if this is so, if you agree with me, what steps are we taking to create more space apart from getting rid of dropout, uh, getting rid of selection, everybody from primary school going to secondary school? What are we doing to create more space for all our children to continue from primary to secondary, grade 12, minimum? Maybe it's a problem only in Port Moresby, or in Port Moresby too.
If we look at Governor, with due
we have
respect,
students coming from Central Province,
Yeah.
Gulf Province, from
Yeah.
all of the country coming into Port Moresby too.
also at the primary level, if you go to Ward Strip, you see the class size is around 50 students, 60 students in a class.
Yeah,
But if you go down up to Geru
yeah,
and schools around Geru area, the classes are small.
yeah.
So, Governor, if we sit down sometime, I will tell you that this is what the real class sizes are. And I would suggest that we apply the policy of what you call a regional selection system, where students within that local area only go to that primary school. They don't travel all the way to Ward Strip and create bus problems and all parents transporting here and there. We just make Geru high school or primary school an excellent school, so the parents will feel happy and they will send the children to Geru only, or to wildlife, or wherever they are. I think that's a problem we have in NCD. That every morning they are moving all over the place.
It's just mathematics too. As I relate to you, we have about 42, or you can say maybe numbers going up. Let's say 40, 45 primary school. But if you count the secondary school, there are less than 20 in terms of government schools. And as I said, the agency have supported us. Still, it's less than, I don't think it's more than 30. It's probably less than 20 secondary schools. So we have a real problem fitting all these 42 or 43 primary school children into 18 or secondary school. If you do the division, 42 to, it should be the other way around. We have if we say we have 18 primary school and they are going to 42 secondary school, it's just pure maths. So we have a problem in the space too in the secondary school. So maybe if you all have not, inquired into that, I think that's also another area you all have to inquire into, so that we achieve, this goal of minimum grade 12 and also achieve universal education. We've been talking about universal education since Papua New Guinea started in 1975. We have to get there sometimes. So this idea of, in the city, early childhood, we want all the churches to set up early childhood. Will not only help early childhood, but will enable us to at least have universal early childhood education. Then maybe we'll do the same with primary. And then we start thinking about the secondary. How are we going to achieve it? So I've flagged before, like, why don't we have night classes, or we ask the churches to become a secondary school during the week. Nobody's going to pray during Monday to Friday. They are going there on Saturday and Sunday, so church stop nothing. So, but I'm just pushing this, laboring on it, because we have a big gap, and I'm just using NCD as a problem. Maybe it's not a problem in Morobe or in Wawaria.
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
So, Governor, sorry, when I mentioned about 6 schools before, that will be funded under the 300 million this year. If the government gives us the funding. It includes NCD and also Lay City. So we added those 2 provinces. Wawaria, you'll come in 2027.
All
So,
right.
thank you. But before I sit down, Governor, can I just say one thing?
Yes.
All this depends on policy implementation. drawing the policy and then implementation. Our 1995 organic law that was passed and that we've been implementing has actually disconnected policy with implementation. So right now, the Department of Education can draw up a policy of 166, ECE and so on. To implement, it will be the provincial education divisions. But they don't report to me, they report to the provincial administrator. That's the current status quo. So we need to fix this up some way to find a compromise with provincial governments, the public service system, to have a system where there is some level of accountability, a connection between provinces and the national system. So that is one of the biggest impediments we have at the moment. Some of us, we have very good communication and relationship with PAs, education advisors, so we use that as a way of getting things done. But I think by law, by structure, I think this is one of the areas that whatever policies we want to implement, I think that's something that needs to be fixed so that we have an improvement in accountability and ensure that what the national government, the provincial governments agree to implement can be also by the public service can also make sure that it's implemented in a more cohesive manner. So that's what I want to really highlight at this opportunity, that we need to really seriously look into this. Prior to 1995, the education advisors in province were called assistant secretaries, and they reported directly to the Secretary for Education. And we had a very good system. But
now
it has now become more distorted,
disjoint,
and we need to look into this. I know Parliament has passed the report that was done by, so I think this is one of the areas that we need to look at.
Secretary, very good point, but I think governors, we have made recommendation to fix that problem, which is not a problem only in education, but in all the sectors, health, police, you name it, forestry, fisheries, tourism. And what we have recommended is that we demarcate clearly the division of labor between the national government and the provincial government. We be implementers. You all stay policy, and you all have oversight over, do inspection, audit, help us with capacity building and all these things. Don't be implementers. Stick to your lane in that way. So your job as a national department, you come and audit and inspect and check on how we are implementing the policy, how we are implementing the functional grant, how we are implementing the TFF, and if it's not in alignment with the national policy, or there's been instance of abuse or stealing, take action. The governors, we are ready to do that. So your job can be to come and supervise and inspect and audit the provincial Department of Education. Are the inspectors doing their work? Are the teachers doing their work? Are the TFF being properly implemented or used properly? The province will have its own audit and inspection, but there is national oversight about policy as well. Now we have this new policy 166. You all come and inspect the provinces. We are open to that. I'm speaking in my capacity as a governor. We are open to that. It's really up to the national government to sort it out. I don't see it as a problem. I don't see it as a problem in the provinces. I see it as a problem at the national level. That the national level is confused about what its role is. But once we clear that out, you come and do the inspection and do the audit, and then bring the provinces to account. Then it will work. That's how you get the provincial education department or entire administration to be in alignment with national policy. The recommendation we have made it maybe governor's conference. We held it maybe last term of Parliament, this term of Parliament, early term of Parliament is waiting for our minister to progress it to Parliament. Once we do that, I think everything will be clear. Let's work towards that. Secretary, I think your time might be up. Yeah. Sorry.
Chair, if I can just make a few comments. First of all, I'm I commend the government for putting that special funds to assist provinces in building infrastructure, education infrastructure. I think a lot of provinces, all provinces will be struggling with that. I know I'm definitely struggling with that. And so the criteria now in terms of how we access or we become eligible to get assistance then becomes quite important. Now you are talking about retention being the criteria, but later on for other provinces, what would be the criteria? And that's about just new infrastructure, but the issue also is maintaining existing infrastructure. That's already a great burden to provinces as well. And then in this system where we want to keep our students in school until grade 12, is that implying compulsory education from up to grade 12? And my other question is, in terms of vocational schools now, where does it fall in this? Is it after grade 12? Because we are investing in vocational technical schools at the same time as we are investing in infrastructure for junior high schools.
Chairman, if you allow me to just give a few
Yes.
response. Selection of provinces for the Equip PNG program. The first criteria for that only to support the 6 province plus NCD and lay cities because of the very urgent need in those 2 cities, as well as the 6 provinces that have already started the removal of selections and the huge challenges. That's why the province, but of course the 11.8 billion will be a program that will cover every province, including these 6 as well. So it's not covering everything. So we'll have to go down to every province, do an audit of what the needs are. And also it's not, I believe in my view that it should not only be covering infrastructure, new infrastructure. We'll have to come up with a framework to support schools maintenance as well. So that's details of that has not been finalized yet. So we'll inform you of what the details will be in due course. Compulsory education. We have not, as a government and as a system, we have not made education compulsory or defined as a compulsory education, but we have used words like universal education to promote everyone to go to school. But the government is seriously looking at the possibility of introducing compulsory education. Now, compulsory education will have some implications. For example, we must have enough teachers. We must have enough schools and classrooms to make education compulsory. We don't have this and say everyone must go to school, but then there's no teacher. We might have an issue here. So therefore, we are now making it like classrooms have to be built, teachers have to be trained. There's opportunity for everyone to go to school. But I believe hopefully in the near future we will make compulsory education. One sector or for everyone.
Maybe if we adopt that as a policy, then we will get there. But if we keep on leaving it, general, then how will we get there? Just a suggestion.
Yep.
Why don't you all think about it that at some point of time we're going to make education compulsory? You all provincial government have to make sure that all our children are going to early childhood, primary, secondary. You have to do it by this year, by this particular period, and then we will get there. We set a target. But as I mentioned to you, we have been talking about universal education since 1975, 16 September. We have not got there yet after 50 years. So we have to change this narrative. That's why we have this committee to have oversight to get us. How are we getting there? How are we looking after our children, making sure that they got a better start so their life can be better than ours? So Secretary,
Thank you.
Think about it seriously.
We'll think about seriously. Maybe in a report of your committee, maybe that could be a very strong recommendation.
Yes.
That we could also put into policy for NEC endorsement.
Compulsory education.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
The last one is on vocational entry. Vocational used to be like grade 6. We used to go to vocational, then we go to 8, 10. even now 12s are going. So the entry into grade vocation schools have been raised, but we are encouraging for grade 12s to go in. So hopefully in the future it will be only 12s. But now we still have grade 8s and 10s going to vocational schools to skill our young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. On behalf of the committee, I thank you for your time and for your contribution this afternoon. We still have a lot of questions, but some of these questions will forward them to you all, so you all can submit as a report or address on them to form part of our recommendation to Parliament. So I thank you for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
Chairman, just one question for the Secretary. We are creating ECE, but what about the training for teachers, ECE teachers? We only have Goroka University.
Yeah.
So how are we going to train if it's going to be 7,000 or 4,000?
Yes, we've already alerted the Department of Education. We had a meeting last month, and we told them of this possible need that we will have. We have asked for all teachers colleges to offer early childhood education, diploma in early childhood education. So we will formalize that, and we'll see that all primary school colleges, they also offer. Now, also one or two teachers colleges, new ones that are coming up, they want to only specialize in ECE teacher training.
Okay.
So we're working towards that one. But for now, we're looking at those few PNGI, Goroka, and I think Enga, and one in Eastern Britain that's been training those 800 teachers. But we are saying that it must be institutionalized.
Yeah.
So hopefully all teachers colleges can offer we have a standard curriculum for teacher training in ECE, and then all of them can offer that.
Can you track you on that so you can get an update on how you going with progressing with all the colleges offering curriculums for diploma for early childhood? So maybe next update.
Yep. We'll work with higher education department.
Oh yeah. So to higher education department. Okay, I think Chairman, we need to bring higher education department into especially for early childhood teachers training.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Doctor, thank you. Thank you for that. Mr. Kenwa is here. Are you standing in for the Secretary Kase? Your Secretary is here or not? One man, you are a very knowledgeable person. You are acting secretary before, and I think you can represent the. Are you prepared to represent the department, or you have mandate, or you are just here to observe, or? Yes, please take the podium. Yes. All right, Mr. Y, you are Deputy Secretary, I believe, huh? Yes?
For public health.
For public health,
Yes.
not Deputy Secretary generally.
So we have three.
Oh, you have 3 Deputy Secretaries. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Y, for making time to come. I acknowledge your Secretary is on duty travel, but I am happy that the department is represented. Main purpose of the inquiry now is to see how we have advanced from since our inquiry in October 2025. So I'll give you some guidance, and then you can do your presentation. Hopefully you'll also address some of this guidance. In terms of progress, so the last time when we met in terms of the basic to look for health of our children, well-being of our children, we have issues with first immunization. There were at some provinces only tracking at 47%. Generally, it was between 22% to 90%. We still have overall not just children, but a problem with life expectancy, 66.5. high maternal child mortality. We have problems with stunning, 44%. So it follows on that nutrition, hygiene remains a big problem generally, but especially for children. So there are gaps in terms of nutrition data, in terms of the data that is coming from the districts. There were a lot of gaps in there when we last met in October, and we noticed some weak monitoring system in all those key areas: immunization, life expectancy, maternal and child mortality, stunning. What is it? Malnutrition being a big problem still in Papua New Guinea, 50 years on. So we are about 6 months or more than 6 months since October last year. So basically it's to see if you all have, can report some progress. All right, Mr. Y, thank you.
Right, thank you, Chair and the committee members, and of course the media and all our observers. Thank you. I'll try my best to cover some areas. I don't have my technical officers with me, so health is responsible for the womb to the tomb, as we say, and our lifespan is at 66.5, while other nations are at 75, 80, thereabout. There are a lot of issues with that, and starting with that is really on immunization, because the best active preventative measure that we can give to our children in the country is through immunization. So we have a well-established immunization system, and immunization is like a fence. And if the immunization coverage is well above 95%, then our children are guaranteed of diseases like measles and pertussis and poliomyelitis and all that. When it is below that, our children are not safeguarded. So we are faring at 30 to 40 and 50%. That's why we had an outbreak of polio. We had about 5 cases of vaccine-derived polio in Morobe, NCD Central, and in Enga province. So we've monitored it, and then up to now we haven't received any. Yes, we did a lot of tests and surveillance, but that's how many we've done so far. And then we've found so far, and as of today, we've only found 5 cases, but we did 2 rounds of immunization, and the first round went up to about 84% or 83%, and then the other one around the same. And NCD, Enga, Morobe, a few of them didn't do well. 4 of them didn't do well. So we're going to start another round from this month, maybe 2 weeks from now, from 27th. So we, and that's in these 4 provinces: NCD, Central, Morobe, and Enga province. And we'd want support from everyone so that we can cover more than 95% to stop the outbreak of polio in the country. So that's on polio. We've just had an outbreak of pertussis in middle fly, but fortunately we from 7 tested samples that were collected, we found that most were out of influenza, but only 1 case of pertussis. but people were flown into the area by Western PHA, and then immunization coverage has been done within the area to protect our children there. We will send more teams to also cover but then, Chair, I do agree with the Secretary for Education. We have a missing link between policy development in Wegani and policy implementation. So you've given your response on that. We did the review of the National Health Plan, the last National Health Plan review, and they found that our achievements were sluggish, and then one important finding was the missing link between Wegani and the implementation level at the provincial level. So we need to do a lot of, we need to come down, and then we work with you, especially to do with some quarterly reviews, find out what is happening at the provincial level as well as the district level, so that, because our immunization coverage is supposed to be at 95%, and we're faring at 30 to 40%, and that's not good enough. So we need to find out what is actually happening, because our main reason for methods of delivering immunization is firstly at the static clinics, in the health centers, in the hospitals. Secondly, it's our mobile clinics by cars, and that's supposed to be done on a daily basis. Thirdly, it's by the outreach patrols. We tend to be seeing that something is wrong somewhere. Maybe the outreach patrols are not done, or the mobile patrols are not being done, and we're also thinking the health centers may not be having cars to go out to the mobile clinics. So that's something that we need to, we'll be conducting a national health conference in June. We'll gather everybody and find out our way faring, because we conduct a SPA report, or sector annual performance report, every year, and we seem to be finding out that it's the same thing is happening. So if you see your like the immunization coverage, like last year for DPT, which is for diphtheria, tetanus, as well as pertussis, our expected coverage is at 95, and Honorable Chair, your province is doing very well at 90%, but that's the easiest one. And then that was in 24, and then 25, for some reason it went down to 76%. Oh, so yeah, thank you. I didn't know that it was on the other side. I'm facing this way. So you can see that the target is supposed to be at 95%. And everyone is faring between 30 to 40 to 60%. So we need to work together to improve the immunization coverage for the country.
What is the reason? Have you identified the cause of the low
well, that's a good question.
average?
Our suspicion is that people are not doing, I mean, health centers are not going out to conduct mobile clinics. Maybe for various reasons.
They're waiting for people to come.
Yeah, and that's not a good way to expect the mothers to walk 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours for a service. So it is our responsibility. The government has a responsibility to go to the last accessible village to cover. So one, you need a car. So every health center has a car. 2, they have staff or not. 3, what about the accessibility? If the roads are there, and then the trouble fights in anger. And then all that, so they all contribute towards low immunization coverage for our children.
Let's look at Medeng, for example.
Medeng, Gulf, Morobe.
24 was 21.9%. 25, they've gone up to 31.6%. So what did they do to get up to 31%?
well, we've been talking very hard on them, so they may have increased some foot patrols or mobile patrols.
But when they were 21% in 2024, what were they not doing? And what are they doing now? That they've increased
Most
a little
were
bit to 31%, but that's still far away. Not even 50%.
true.
Yeah.
Chair, I fully agree with you.
So you can't come here and just make assumption, Mr. Y. Your colleagues in the national provincial PHA, they should supply you this information. But is that the problem again? There's disjoint and the PHA are not submitting data, or what's the explanation now? Maybe our committee will have to go back and summon everyone, huh?
Good you do that. Unfortunately, I didn't bring the sector annual performance report because they also one indicator is to measure the outreach patrols.
Yes.
Had I had that report, then I would see how many percent or how many clinics have they conducted in a year. But I say
what they're doing or not doing, importantly, not doing.
Indeed.
So, Madam, we are happy there's some progress, but it's totally still inadequate. And then it goes across the board. Let's look at ROP, they've come down. There must be an explanation. They were 71% in 2024, but now they've dropped to
44.
44 in 2025. And Central Province, our governor is here. They used to be 55.1. In 24, they've come to 53.
About 2%.
And that's about all across the board. So if we talk about 20, compare ourselves to 25 last year up to now, there's not a lot of progress in immunization. So we have to really double our effort or find other ways. Something is not going right. Message is not going through. Or Western Province is a challenging province. They were 37.1% in 2024. Now they've dropped to 32 in 2025, 32.9. Western Islands has dropped. West New Britain has improved. Southern Islands has dropped. Northern Province has dropped. New Ireland has dropped. In the city too, we have dropped. Morro Bay has improved slightly. Millen Bay has dropped slightly. And Manus is a big drop, 68.4 to 49.8. Madang, we had a focus on them last year, so they probably hit the message and they did something. Jiwaka is a slight increase by 3% from 50 to 53. Allies dropped 62 to 60. Gulf slight increase 33 to 39. Enga is dropped slight drop 39 to 37. Eastern Islands a bit of increase 38 to 46. ECE has improved. There's a marked improvement 42 to 61. East New Britain is almost static 66. Just a small 0.2% increase. So I think, Secretary, in terms of immunization, something is not getting right. The message is not getting through, or maybe there's disjoint in the system. You cannot get the message down to the provinces. So if that's the case, you should tell us now so that our committee, we focus on the provinces to come before the committee instead of summoning you or your secretary to come or your minister to come. I think you may walk amongst them, because maybe it's disjoint and you all don't have some leverage over the provinces. So you come here and you do a presentation, but you can give an explanation, and that's not acceptable by our committee.
Secretary, before you speak, Chairman, I think that's a very good suggestion for you, because the deputy secretary, but the public health is at Port Moresby, but the real people on the ground is the PHA. The real implementers on the ground are PHA. So they should be here answering the question why we are not getting the immunization coverage. All the medicine are given, all the funding are provided, supported by provincial government, supported by DDA, supported by national government, but still we are not getting the improvement in all those coverage, especially immunization and many other factors also. So as you suggested, we should bring the PHA here, and you see, based on this chart they have, we have those everybody below 50% should come. Huh?
Yeah.
You mean we should summon all those PHA CEOs that their figures are below 50%.
Even up to 60% or 70%, because our target is 95%.
Yeah, but let's start with let's bring that up to 50%. I know. Target you want to reach 90%, but that's realistic, but practically it's unrealistic. So let's get the 50% guys. So let's get them above 50% first. Huh?
Yeah.
That's my suggestion to Chair. So maybe there are other indicators. Immunization is one of them. We could have other indicators also, like I don't know, some other indicators when we go through the presentation also. But let's put a benchmark, and those underperforming PHAs, let's bring them here. I think we have received a lot of complaints also from the governors and members of parliament that their PHAs are not performing, and that's really a worry. So we need to bring those PHA before this house. Like for me, I want to bring more of a PHA here and question them why my immunization. I have 2 ambulances and I have supply medical equipment and all this, and why is my immunization for my district is not? If it's affect district is my district is included here. So this sort of questions we want to ask the PHA CEO, not you. You will be you at Waigani. So those are the provinces we really want to ask them that question.
Yeah. So, Secretary, to put you on the spot, do you have any other explanation on the immunization, or we rest the discussion on immunization? You could move on to nutrition or something.
Okay, for immunization, as I said, we haven't run out of vaccines. We have, for the last 4 years, sufficient. Like as of yesterday, we received all our monies for previously we used to receive 3.4 million. And then it went up to 15 million. And this year, it's 26.11 million. And all those monies were released as of yesterday, 100%. That includes all the TB medicines, malaria medicines, HIV medicines. So all the public health commodity monies have been released. So we're going to...
That's to purchase the vaccine,
for vaccines and all the other drugs like for TB, HIV, and malaria. So for
Mr. White, the PHA might say, well, where's the money for us to roll it out?
Well, the money is going to them. Okay. I mean, for roll it out and service delivery, that's what service delivery is. So the parliament passes the appropriation bill, Treasury release the money directly to them. The money does not come to us. The only money that comes to us is the church money. So as the Department of Health picks the money, we just do a check straight to the Christian Health Services and Catholic Health Services. We don't charge a toya for that check. And then, so all the service delivery money is going to them.
Directly to the PHA.
Directly to the PHAs. And then the vaccines are going directly. And thank UNICEF. We have more than 85% or 83, 85% of the health facilities in the country have cold chain equipment. So thank you to UNICEF. So vaccines is not an issue. Cold chain is not an issue. It's only fair that, Chair, as you are saying, it's good to bring the PHs to come and tell us why are the figures like this. Thank you,
All
Chair.
right, but Mr. Wai, before you go on to the next item, in terms of the legal relationship or something, don't you all at the National Department have power to have oversight, like supervision or audit or Don't you go to the provinces and audit how they are performing in terms of their PHA? Don't you have that audit, not just auditing the finance, but auditing the delivery of services? This is what we should be developing between the national government and the provincial government. National government, as I mentioned to the Secretary of Education, you all develop the policy, you all develop strategy, you all make resources available, but also retain power of auditing and supervision, and also bringing accountability, financial accountability, service delivery, oversight in the provinces. So you can't release money to the provinces without having some powers of oversight to ensure that they are in compliance with national policy, national target. It can't be disjointed like that. We're not running so many 22 countries. There's one country called Papua New Guinea. The provinces are part of the equation. So if it's totally disjointed, that's a problem. And I speak again as a governor, being here now 19 years. Me and my colleagues, we have no problem with the national government coming to audit and supervise and check on performance and delivery. So are you all doing that in the National Department of Health, or you're just saying that, oh, something blue plan now, money go Ministry, you blow organ, and then just waiting for them to submit reports? So that's a bit like becoming irresponsible too. Yeah.
Sure, thank you. Mimo one bello tuk you.
Yes.
We need to lift our supervision.
Yes.
We need to go out there. I've been at the provincial level for 25 years, so I know what it means when Wegani goes out there. We to conduct quarterly reviews,
Yes.
Sit down with them.
Yes.
Financial audits are done by the AGO,
Yeah.
but when it comes to service delivery,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be with them, conduct quarterly review. At least once or twice a year, we would have visited our province. So we've talked about it. After seeing all these things, we need to improve our presence at the provincial level.
Let's work on that. As I said, we in the province, we are happy to be supervised and to be subject to audit and inspection and accountability.
Thank you.
All right, you move on to another agenda item.
I just, Chair, through you,
Yes.
just one question about how you collect your information. What is the process? Your data from the PHAs.
Thank you, Member and Governor. We have what we call a National Health Information System. Previously used to be paper-based. At the moment, we have the electronic National Health Information System. So each health facility, they have a tablet. And then there is so once whatever service delivery they provide from each facility, it goes into the National Health Information System. So every year we analyze that, and then we do for this year or last year we did a district profile, and I don't know, each of you would have received a district profile. So yeah. Those are we collect those and then we develop them into district profiles, and each of you see exactly where your district is in terms of all the indicators of health. So we have established a National Health Information System. We use that to monitor the health services in the country. That includes hospital and down to rural health services, right down to the health center level or the 8-post level.
So if that's the case, then you would have some answers to the questions that we are raising in terms of the graph that you are showing. Like, which facilities are giving you information, which are not? Are there facilities that are not giving the information? At least from that collection of statistics, you should be able to give us some level of information.
Yes, we can do that. Remember, I didn't most of the PHAs submitted the annual management report. So we would have, sat down to go through it, we could get some. And then also through the National Health Information System. I didn't have time to go through all of it, but we definitely can detect those, like if some facilities are not reporting. We can detect that because each facility is supposed to report every month.
Mr. White,
Thank you.
before you, Governor, you still, Governor is still asking questions.
No, I mean, that's really important because, I mean, congratulations, you're already on electronically, you know, transmission of stats straight away. And so that should really help the department to produce reports, the summaries of monthly or weekly, whatever, stats coming through. So when you come to this, when you come here, you should have that information. It's not like you're collecting manually and they have to go enter it in, etc. It's already on those tablets that come through, so it should be easy to analyze the data and produce the report. So when we ask you those questions, we should be getting answers to it.
Indeed.
At least some indication of possible reasons why
We're collecting
the
this.
rates are going, the trend is.
Thank you.
Mr. White, just on the report you presented, I just want to point out that it contains some of the explanation and proposed corrective action for those low coverage provinces. Just read some of them for the record.
Yes.
Priority low coverage provinces: Medang, Gulf, Morobe, Eastern Islands, Enga, Southern Islands, Western and Western Britain. Causes of the low performance: high dropout rates between DTP1 and DTP3, up to 46%, 46.7% in Medang. Inadequate outreach and mobile to remote and peri-urban settlement. Health workforce gaps, insecurity and service disruption. Weak defaulter tracing and community engagement. And then you have, in the next page, you will have corrective action. Follow up with plans to conduct national EPI review. So all these are good, Mr. White, but I think it's more better as our committee is now intimating that the provincial PHA be brought before our committee so they can report on them. But please, after this, send this message to all the PHA and point out to them the poor performance between 2024 to 2025. Everybody needs to ramp up their, their program to deliver the immunization. We are just looking at one sector of immunization, but it might be across the board. All right, Mr. White, please move on to maybe nutrition or stunt or. Do you have a presentation on that? I think you have a presentation on nutrition.
I have a paper there.
Yes.
You can go through. In terms of the nutrition and stunting program, we are working with UNICEF. The first thing we'd want to do, we're actually monitoring stunting and nutrition again through our monthly report. We haven't done any proper survey since 2005. So that's why this year we'd want to do a survey. All the stunting information and nutrition information we are collecting through our National Health Information System. So in 2026, we want to do a survey and then establish a national baseline, and it has to be evidence-based in terms for policies and strategies. So far, we've established a steering committee and a technical working group. We will require about 40 million kina, We've actually included that in the budget, but it was not appropriated. But we have under the National Nutrition project, that's under the SLOS. We've requested for 10 million, and they've approved that. And we've developed terms of reference and all the others. It's a multi-sectoral working group, including NSO, National Planning. But as we speak, we haven't secured any money yet, but we're hearing that some support will come from our partners. So we're working on the tools and preparation so that towards the end of the year, we'd want to do a nutrition survey, and that will be able to tell us exactly what our nutrition status is like, because the information that we are using is from 2005. So you could look at all the others for school nutrition, community nutrition, and for leveraging through village health assistance, integrated management of acute malnutrition, and then the policies on the Infant and Child Food Nutrition Supply Control Act of 2023 and the regulations. So all of that, you can see it in point number 3.
Okay, Mr. Wai,
yeah.
15 years gap between 15 years?
2005 to now.
2005 to now, so it's not a very good record. So, nutrition and, hygiene and all this wash and all this, intervention, they are part of the primary health, preventive health care. So they are important for well-being of our people, not just the curative health care. So it's telling that we have not done this nutrition survey for this so many years, big gap. And the chances are, if this committee probably did not come into existence, we might not have a survey for another 15 years. So you all really need to get your act together in this regard and impress on the minister and government generally that this is a very core issue that we need to get right. Especially at the early age, at the early development is very important for the entire, life journey of our people. We don't get it right in the beginning, it'll never go right.
True.
Their physical and mental development depend on that early intervention. So what we have been doing is promoting curative health care. So the messaging we are giving to our people is that it's okay, you don't have to look after yourself. We'll build more clinics and more health centers and more hospitals and get more doctors and more equipment and medicine, and we'll cure you all. That's the indirect message, or subtle message that we are giving our people. So no wonder, Mr. Wai, with the Chinese medical naval board here, more than 5,000 plus. They went there in Friday into the weekend, and come Monday they're still there sleeping and queuing up, because they're not looking after their health. They think that you and your colleagues, doctors, will fix them. And that's not a really good strategy and message to promote. So our committee is charged with oversight of our children's health, education, hygiene, nutrition, to get it right so that they have a good life journey. And when they have a good life journey, it impacts on the entire overall development and progress of our nation. So we've got to get this right. So I can see you all have since October 2025, our last inquiry, government has allocated 10 million towards national nutrition survey. Yeah? So
From the project.
Huh?
From the project.
From which project?
From the CNSP,
Yeah.
the World Bank project, but that's still government money, so.
Yeah, I know. So when will this survey be conducted? And how long will it take? Are you all putting the plan together still, or it's still work in progress?
No, we're putting, we've had about 2 meetings already,
Okay.
and we're putting the plan so that we aim to conduct the survey before the elections. So around from November or so. So we're putting all the strategies together. We've had, as I say, a few meetings already, and then we are mobilizing resources too. So we're talking to our partners like DFAT and USAID, and I'm hearing that at least some of them are bringing something to that table. And then we'll work with UNICEF as well as the Department of National Planning, and then all our stakeholders to get this survey out of the way before the elections.
Yeah, I would on behalf of our committee recommend that you all do it as soon as possible.
Yes.
We can't delay it any further. We can see the problem with stunting is becoming an increased problem. Malnutrition is an increased problem. You can see how people are continuing to eat all this processed food. Their choice in eating habit is not very good. Kids are being fed all this processed food. There's no awareness to, or if there's awareness, it's not done to a high level. I'm not sure if there is a part of the curriculum in the schools that are getting all our children to be very clear about what is healthy food, what is not healthy food. Young children are being fed Coca-Cola and scone or fried scone, and it's getting popularized. Some of our artists are singing it in their song, 5 toya scone or something. They're promoting it, and your department is not countering that. So what will be the outcome for our children, the next generation? Will they be healthy? Prime Minister's come up with this great plan to have the chiefs. Do you think we will be physically big people to counter these Australians or New Zealanders or Fijians if we go the way we are going now? It will be a pipe dream. We might continue to recruit maybe, Maoris or Fijians or Samoans or Australians, or we go to Europe and recruit Europeans. But it doesn't mean that we cannot be big and bulky to play rugby. But we just got poor nutrition. And your department is not ramping up on it. So you all really need to get your act together on this.
Thank you, Chair. I do fully agree with you on that. As I said, we're responsible for when a person gets sick. But when it comes to 90% of life, people don't get sick. So that's when everyone has a responsibility to make sure people remain healthy. So our motto is healthy Papua New Guinea through healthy communities and healthy mindset. That includes food. Papua New Guinea is flush with food, but we have problems with how we prepare that food. So like we need to find some ways to improve in our food preparation techniques. Maybe so we eat cocoa and then we feel that our tummy is full. But
is that your departments and the health sector responsibility, or who's
it's
responsibility?
like community development. Food preparation is not on our part. Food production is with DPI. And then the children.
You, Mr. Wai, you have a division. Part of your department is primary health care, and you also have this
public health.
Village health assistance program. They're supposed to be trained to help our community.
Yes, yes.
Mothers, if that's their responsibility. Even fathers too. Fathers are buying Coca-Cola and kind giving the children. Yeah, and as I said, this is very important for mental growth and physical development. If we get if we give people, our children, proper nutrition, good hygienic, clean environment, they can be big and maybe smart, better, much smarter than Alan Baird. Imagine that if all our kids are as big or bigger than Alan Baird, and much smarter than him. Hey, Papua New Guinea will be progressing. But the way we're going, we can't get there. Maybe Alan will be the end of, the type of PNG, big, bulky, and smart guys will be descending. So
True.
you can't keep on passing the buck saying that it's a community responsibility. All community are almost Savituya. Who's going to teach them?
But Chair,
Yeah.
thank you. To improve all that, we have a outdated Public Health Act
Yes.
of 1973. So policy has been brought to Parliament, and Parliament has already approved it. Now we are working on the development of the legislation, review of the Act, and then as soon as it's passed, we'll develop the regulations. That's when all this food you talk long enough. We need to, by law, some of those fatty foods have to be outlawed. All this like that has no nutritional value.
Cordial is, sugar content of cordial is very high.
That's inclusive.
Yeah.
Like this green drink here, Otok, Boo, high energy. But people don't know that it has so much sugar in there. That's why they go strong and then they feel that they have energy. But that's the highest drink with, soda drink that has highest level of sugar. So through the Public Health Act and the policy, we aim to look at everything. Like health is responsible from the womb to the tomb. So when it comes to nutrition and all those legislations that we need to do to control food contents, food importation, food manufacturing, so those will be included in there. So hopefully before the rising of this Parliament, towards the end of the year, we will submit policies already. Now we are going into starting to review the Act now, after the policy approval. So, but then this 50-year-old policy and the Act should be developed, and that will guide everybody else to look at all types of public health things and measures that have not been strengthened. I mean, that's not to say we are not doing it, we are doing it, but we need support from the community. We can't do it alone. We only get when people are sick, but when people are normal out there, talk about food and washing and water supply and sleeping in good houses and all those, they're part of the normal way of life, and people are supposed to.
Mr. Y, you're giving excuse.
No.
You're in the department and in the PHA, they have a division called Primary Health Care.
And their
That
promotion.
is to focus on prevention.
Of course.
And their role is to go out into the community to do clinics, not to give injection, but to talk about and to promote hygiene, health care and nutrition, and make sure the house are clean and so on. During the colonial time, I grew up in colonial time, the Kiaps come to our village and make sure your house is cleaner. If not, you will go straight to jail. Yep. You are not doing that, or PHAs are not doing that. So people are doing anyhow, living any lifestyle, and then they come to you and they say, okay, we are sick now, you have to cure us. If not, you're doing a lousy job. So it starts at the prevention.
Yes.
It's becoming a cliche. We all talk about it, prevention is better than cure, but your department and the PHA, they focus on cure. So there's nothing wrong with cure, but we have to balance it with your prevention. So one of the prevention strategy, Mr. Y, there's a policy on the village health assistance. What's happened to that policy? Maybe if the PHA is too focused on, becoming sergeant and Khatim Olman Merin about, and they can go out into the community. This village health assistants, maybe they are the ones who are going to work with the community to do those improve the hygiene and improve nutrition and clean up the house. And in the city too here in Port Moresby, We have problem with TB, and TB can be improved by simply keeping the house clean. Sunlight coming in, it kills the TB bacteria, but we're not doing that. We're not telling the people to, clean, let the sun shine, come through. So whose responsibility is it? Which agency of the government is going to do that?
Thank you.
What is the role of the Department of Health and all the health agencies, especially PHA? Will they do that or not?
Well, we have a unit called Health Promotion Unit in its PHA as well as the department. So that's that unit is responsible to raise awareness. But from the department, we're developing policies and strategies. It's the PHAs that need to rise up and raise those awareness. Like TB, for example, one social determinant like overcrowding, 20 people living in one. So responsibility now, we need to build more houses, or when we build houses, we need to include ventilation, a lot of windows, so that kind of so those kind of standards must. So we will include that in the Public Health Act and policy, so that people can. But I'm with you. We need to do a lot of health promotion. We need to do a lot of awareness. Plantiman gonna go and buy ECE lamb flaps and sausages sold out there without knowing that.
Can I interrupt you?
Please go ahead.
I think let's stick to this matter of policy with regard to village health attendants, assistant. Village health assistant. I believe there's supposed to be a policy you guys brought before to NEC. What happened to that?
It hasn't, remember, it hasn't gone to NEC yet. It went as far as CACC and came back, so we are reviewing it. We wanted to do it similar to like the village court magistrates, but there was a bit of money being involved, so we are trying to talk around that. Many people think that they're supposed to be like volunteers, but others are saying, no, at least some incentives must be given. And this week we are hearing that Department of Provincial and Local Government Affairs, they're saying that they want to have ward health assistants. When we are saying village health assistants, they're kind of saying ward health assistants. So we need to work together with the DPLGA and as well as ourselves, because villages are too many. What's is at the higher level, so we could. So these are, they're not clinicians. They're supposed to be public health people. They represent, like they become our ambassadors out there.
They promote your health agenda. We're talking about a policy that will help to promote your policy at the village level.
Thank you, member. Yes.
So you, this other factor of the money. Just now, the education secretary came on board and said that all the ECE early childhood teachers will be on government's payroll. Now, that's the same job that the village aid health attendant is going to be doing.
Indeed.
So, how can, if the government is funding the early childhood teachers, they can do the same for the village health attendant assistants.
Village
they can
health assistant.
Village health ward health assistants. They can do the same because you can justify that you paying the early childhood teachers. You can do the same to village ward health assistants. Yeah. So maybe the next committee hearing we want to see some tangible progress on this one at the NEC level. They must get approval. These children, we're talking about the education secretary came on board and said that they will have to ensure that there's a nutrition. There should be a nutrition meal for the early childhood children. Okay, that's a function for the village ward health attendants to take charge. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe sometimes you education and health people work on them na ward level. You can work on the policy level, but you can drive it at government ward level. So please, next chairman, through you, please, next meeting we want to see village ward health attendants being put on payroll too.
Policy approved.
Approve policy na, put him on payroll na. We get it. Through this committee, at least we see some outcome at the ward level.
Thank you, Member and Chair. Thank you. We'll certainly pursue that. We will also pursue with Department of Community Development as well as Department of DPLGA, because they have a similar kind of a thought. So we will work together, and then at least there must be a health ambassador out there, just like education or law and order. At least there is somebody in the ward. Okay, you got TB and now you must go Marasin go come. Mamaya got Bella now. You know, those kind of things. And then you don't pit latrines or water supply, all those kind of things. So it's a good policy, but it went to CACC and then came back. So we'll pursue it again. So we need your support on that too, Chairman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wai. We are going to 4:30, so at some time we have to call our session today to an end soon. But could you move on to malnutrition and commenting also on this proposed act, the Infant and Young Children Food Supply Control Act and Regulation? Maybe that will give us some clear, way forward. Are you vested with that, or?
Well, we already have a existing act. Chair, let me get some more technical info.
Management of Acute Malnutrition Program.
It's saying government is strengthening the regulations for marketing and sale of breast milk substitutes, complementary feeding products, and related nutrition supplements through the Infant and Young Child Food Supply and Control Act 2023 and accompanying regulations 2026. So we are progressing to develop our regulations for that, so that all the food supplements and like milk and all that are sold are controlled instead, and even the bottles that are supposed to be regulated and prescribed, they're being sold everywhere. So that's part of the regulations that we are working on. But I don't have enough technical information, so we can always provide a full report on it.
Yeah, I have a question on that, but if we come back to malnutrition, in your presentation here, the written presentation, over 10,000 children have been treated for severe acute malnutrition in 2025. I'm not sure if in October last year we have an actual figure on this, but is this progress in terms of reach out? One, two, does that make a difference in terms of the level of malnutrition countrywide, or what is the data in terms of malnutrition? You have the data, or you only have this report?
Let me go back and get some information, and then we'll put it in writing to you, Chair.
Yes. All right. Otherwise, perhaps you should, if you have other areas you want to address, or our committee have some question they want to ask, you could address those and bring your submission to a conclusion.
But Chair, as I said, there is hopefully by the end of this year we should have developed or finalized the Public Health Act and submit it to Parliament. That will govern many of these roadside, food vending and betel nut sales and sugary food, and that may include even we're getting a lot of processed food, NCD control. Like we need to, like you and me need to go have like regular medical checks. Our officers, PHA officers, come around to the offices or give them time to do exercise and check BMI and blood pressure, weight, and all that. So we're not doing too much. We're looking at the population out there, that the educated and the well-to-do we leaving them out there, and then many are, you know, getting stroke and hypertension and all that. So as part of the public health policy, we would put those as part of controlling food, but at the same time also we look at preventative actions and do medical checks and all that. So we will do that. When talking about malnutrition, there is also overnutrition. So we need to control that. I mean, look at those things too. But otherwise, thank you. I didn't bring my team, so I'm only one man standing. And
all right, committee members, any question, or otherwise I'll bring our session this afternoon to a conclusion. All right, if there's no question, I want to thank Mr. Y, the Deputy Secretary in the Department of, one of the Deputy Secretary in Department of Health, for his presentation this afternoon. We thank you for the dialogue and information that you have provided. We want to highlight continue to highlight the fact that we still have a big gap in the immunization rollout. A lot of provinces are still tracking very lowly. We have still problems with nutrition. The nutritional study is a big 15-year gap, and that says a lot for how we are reaching out to our children, preparing them for their life journey. We still have problems with basic hygiene and so on. The WASH program, which should be part of Department of Health too, like Department of Education, is still parked with national planning. That's a problem in itself. Our committee, me in particular, I don't understand the logic of that project being parked with national planning. It's either should come to you all or to the National Department of Health and partner with the provinces, or it should go to another implementing agency that is appropriate. National planning is planning, monitoring, evaluation. How can they be involved in implementation of projects or programs? That's why we're getting the equation wrong. There's problems with functionality and responsibility. So WASH, we need to sort it out too. Malnutrition and stunting on that data available is still at 44%. So that parallel almost with malnutrition, and that's very big concern that we should have, because it means that 44% of our children have poor start in their life journey, and life expectancy is still at 66.5. So, you know, if we don't start changing this, that means our children, we are condemning them to 66.5 or even less. With the way we are going, maybe it might come down. So that should alert all of us, Mr. Y. We have this joiner problem too between National Department and all the PHA. Some of the issues that question that are raised here too is that some of the provincial government, Mr. Y, have problems with the PHA. We have structured it so that it's got a different board, and that creates a problem sometimes. It's a real problem with the provincial government. How do the provincial government have leverage and oversight over the PHA? Considering that all governments, some of the key outcomes that the government delivers, or minimum they have to deliver, is health, education, infrastructure, security, and maybe one other, one more, 5 areas. But if the provinces, they have oversight of education, but not have direct oversight, or there's a question over this key outcome, which is health, then that's a problem too. So if we summon the provincial government, for example, they might say, I'm sending the PHA here. So how do we reconcile this? So there's some structural impediment to delivery of health outcome, which will affect our health generally. But for our committee, we focusing on our children. if we have all messed up our life and, you know, not going to live up to 100, at least we must make sure our children, the next generation or next many generations to come, their life is better than us. Then the country is progressing. Otherwise, we will be regressing. So this structural impediment too are equally important to address. So thank you, Mr. Wai. I hope you take that back to the department. On our part, we will incorporate them into our recommendation to Parliament, one of which, apart from recommendation, we will start to focus on getting the PHA to come and report to. Thank you very much, Mr. White.
Thank you. Can I make a last comment?
Yes.
Thank you. For us, again, as I said, we are responsible from the womb to the tomb, and health is wealth. So we need support from everyone, including the leadership and the government. For the first time, we've had our budget increased to 3.2 billion. The education sector seems to be winning all the time. We need to match up with the education sector. They're picking 5 billion and we're picking 3.2 billion. So we need to catch up with them. But our workforce, again, so we have a lot of challenges, but where there is a will, there is a way. But talking for the PHAs, Governor, you have a responsibility and authority over your own PHA. Also, supposed to report to you. Your provincial administrator or city manager is a voting member by change of legislation. Is a voting member. Actually, we wanted to have him as or her as the chair, but our talk no good. PHA no perform good na. Or suspend him or something. Name blow you up. That's why we left it. Otherwise, he or she is the deputy chair by legislation on the PHA board. So and PHA is an organ of the provincial government. Or provincial health authority board or look out him on your behalf. And you have every responsibility to demand from them. This is my plan, this is my target, you do it for me, and they will do it for you, and let them be accountable to you. So we are promoting One Health system, but all step on the Mibla, and then organic law is higher than that. So, in health, our motto is, wish is that by 2050, Christmas blow up when any lifespan must go under 75 years old. 75 years, no can stop 6. So we need to, by way of food and by way of exercise and by way of health, let's not die early. So we all need, we all have a responsibility to live up to over 75. So whatever those causing shortening our life, we have to work together, be it legislation or be it food or medicine is only fixing up what we haven't fixed along the way. Thank you, Chairman. God bless you and your membership, or your members, for inviting health to this. But we definitely, if you can call the PHS, we'll bring them in so that together we address the health issues in the country. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wai. It was supposed to be a final comment, but your last comment on the allocation of resources and so on, population, I think, Mr. Wai, you should not push that too much. Yeah, it's not a good excuse. You should learn to utilize whatever resources you have to do as much as we can. I just want to emphasize this by, drawing your attention to, like, in Africa, the country of Uganda, they have a population of 51 million people. In the city of Kampala, they have 19 million people living in the city of Kampala. But their statistics, health-wise and literacy and everything else is much better than Papua New Guinea. Our resource base is much better. They only export coffee. Now maybe they're, discovering oil and so on. So it's not a good excuse to come up with that type of, proposition that not enough finance and so on. Papua New Guinea, we should be, advanced than a lot of other countries. We got the resources base. We got the wealth. We've got oil and gas and all these commodities. We're even harvesting all the, fish and, selling all the trees too. So there should not be any excuse. We just have to get the strategy right, use the money that we have, use it right, and I think we'll get there. All right, thank you very much, everyone. That ends our session for today. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance, all the stakeholders and the media who might be here, and of course our partner UNICEF and everyone. Thank you, our committee members. We'll have the session again tomorrow. Yeah, we'll continue tomorrow. We have national planning, I believe. Let me just see the program again. Justice. Some other departments coming on tomorrow. Treasury. Yeah. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you very much, everyone.
Why you putting on national planning? It's the worst.
Oh, wash water.
Yeah.
Last time you reject Tanda.
But